Happy Halloween, my good friends. It's John here, and today is October 31st, Halloween. And I got a question just recently that I would like to share with you. I wanted to know what my thoughts were on haunted houses. I thought this was the perfect video to do for today. I'm going to tap into a couple other concepts that I have tapped into on other videos, and I'm going to put them together to show you my thoughts on haunted houses. And it's an interesting thing. So, if you remember correctly, I talked a lot about the God consciousness, the Holy Spirit consciousness, and the physical world consciousness. And it's all one, it's all connected. I also talked about when people cross over during a near-death experience, they experience what they believe, and then it transitions to the unconditional love without the dogma. I also talked about the idea that conditions like dementia or Alzheimer are slow transitions into that crossing over. That's why they start to see and hear people from the other side. They start to, respond to people that aren't in the room because they're starting to see and hear things that are on the other side because their veil is getting thinner, and it's a retreat from the consciousness here. It's literally a retreat. So that said, do I believe in ghosts? I think I've touched on that in another video too, where I do believe that that transition process creates can take a long time, like in the Alzheimer's patients, can take a short time, an instant time where they go right over. I believe that some people have a hard time actually going and leaving this place. They've left the body, but they have a hard time crossing over, and it's going to take them a longer time to cross over because of their attachments to what's here in the physical plane. A lot of times you'll find people who are attached to their home, or attached to a person, or attached to some place. And a lot of times people say they see ghosts in those places. And I believe wholeheartedly in the idea that their beliefs or their traumatic end may take them longer to transition into the unconditional loving space. And because they are in flux and not fully into that next phase, into that next level of consciousness that is less physical, they show up as apparitions or ghosts or things of that nature. Do I believe that houses can be haunted? Sure. I believe that houses can be haunted, but the word haunted is the thing that I want to take umbrage with, I guess. Haunted is a fear-based word. It's, oh my God, it's haunted. Ooh, right. I don't believe ghosts can be or are malevolent. I believe that they are closer to the source. They might not understand where they are, but I don't believe they are malevolent. I think it's our fear of the unknown that makes us afraid of them. To give you an example, when I moved into this house, the oldest part of this house was a tiny little Cape Cod over on the far side. The people who owned this house after that added on the side and on the back and above. So they added the house that it is now. The original house was a quarter of the size of the house it is now. My son was here. He was, at the time, I guess he was 8 or 9, maybe 10. And his bedroom was upstairs in the old part of the house. And he was walking up the staircase to go upstairs, and he said, Daddy, what? He says, I just saw a woman walk from that part of the house to this part of the house. I said, oh, that's great. And I didn't give him the fear of it. I didn't give him the emotional content to be afraid of it. right? That's the important part. We're not afraid of it. The other thing is that in our bathroom downstairs, right off the kitchen, it's a half bath. And in that half bath is a no windows. There's no windows. So when the door's closed and the lights are off, it's pitch dark in there. And oddly enough, the way the lighting is in this house, the light for that bathroom is in a different room. So it's weird. It's very weird. But sometimes I'll just go in there and close the door and use the bathroom in the dark. So I went in and I closed the door. I was using the bathroom in the dark, and boom, I saw a flash of light in the room. But there was no light in the room, and there was nothing there. And I was like, okay, so something's here. My son saw something, I saw something. Then I was talking to my friend who you guys met on the last live stream on Sunday, Laura Marie, and I called her. I said, my son saw something and I saw something. And she said, do you want me to see, check in and see if I can see anything or hear anything? She was out in California at the time. I said, sure. So she comes back and she says, all right, whoever lived in the old house is still there, and she's kind of taking care of the house, and she's doing that work. And would you like me to ask her to leave? I said, well, if it's better for her to move on, then great. If not, we don't care, because we're not afraid of her, right? And so what happened next was Laura came back the next day and said, so I spoke with her, and she decided to move on. We never saw her again. We never saw that ghost again, right? So the interesting thing about that is the idea that someone has attachment to the house. Now, the person who I believe this was in this house, I found out a little bit about them later. So I was talking to my neighbor next door. I had no idea the original builders of this house was his aunt, and they lived in this house, and they've now passed on. And this was their pride and joy, their little house on our road here. And when the remodel was done, nobody in the family liked what they did to this house, and because they liked the little tiny cottage. And so, basically what was said was this house was that woman's pride and joy. So she kind of hung around because this is her house, right? And I think really literally what's going on is that it was, she didn't like what was happening with the house, so she didn't leave the house because she was trying to protect the house. And now we're here and we love the house, so it was okay to move on. Now that's all conjecture. That's all me going, okay, is that what it is? Laura said that that was the experience she had. My son saw something. I saw something. That's a ghost, okay? There's a type of psychic ability known as psychometry, where you can pick up something that someone might have owned, and like this pen, pick up a pen that someone might have owned and go, and get a sense of them because of the psychometry. Why if a pen can do that, why can't a house do that? Be something that's attached to it, an energy that's attached to it. Ghosts are nothing to be afraid of. Ghosts are literally just spirit entities who haven't crossed on all the way. They are in that process. Everything I talk about is simplicity. And if you think about that idea of that transition to the other side, sometimes taking more time, sometimes taking less time, all dependent upon our belief. So if they believe they can't leave their house, then they're going to take longer because they can't leave their house at that time. There's going to be those moments. But the idea is not to fear them. Let them know that it's okay and that you love them just as they are. And do I believe in haunted houses? No. I believe in loving spirits that are still working their way to the other side. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye. Happy Halloween.